Cool. So, my name is Matt Dixon. Actually, wait, let's wait for the YouTube to start. That was done. All right, here we go. Okay, so I did get it all right at the beginning. So, my name is Matt Dixon. I've been a software developer for 26 years, and I have been doing software for ever since that time. Recently, I've been a fractional CTO, and I kind of been getting more into development again because instead of building a dev team, I just build a dev team of agents, and we just crank through the project. Um, Cool. So what we're going to cover today is nuts to bolts. I do have a couple references for you guys to refer to, and you can check out, it has like how to prompt. It's not just, it is just talking, but if you do a couple prompts instead of just blurting a bunch of stuff out, you'll get much better results. Um, so, like a three-layer prompt instead of just one big prompt. So let me, so go through some of the ideas here. So one of them was like a replacement for a CFO and a bookkeeper. Another one was, let's see, healthcare, HIPAA territory, uh, stuff like that. And I think the one we're going to pick is this weird guy, Andrew, posted one about uh, it already exists kind of, but in two different apps. So logging your exercise, logging your weight, and also doing nutrition information from what you eat. So just a calorie tracker and exercise tracker and weight tracker. Um, Hi, Linda. How are you?
Good. Hello.
Where are you calling from, and what are you hoping to get out of this?
Honolulu, Hawaii, and
Nice.
someone has to live here, you know.
There are worse
And
places.
yes, and we're in Elite together, and I just played with Claude Code yesterday and created a dashboard, so it was fun.
Love it. All right. Yeah, I've been building a Claude Code agent that I work with all the time. So, for instance, I got this message from someone, and I'm like, I have no idea about this industry. So then I had Claude Code. I had it do the message and read it, and I'm like, let's build him a little dashboard. So
Yeah,
we did that, and I deployed it to uh, a subdomain without any work on my part.
cool.
So once you get things set up, it's pretty good. All right. So, have you guys ever gotten like an estimate on an app build? And I'm sure like back in the day, I'm sure they were like super cheap, right? Like $3 or no, they're so expensive. Like six figures easy. I've worked with clients, multi-year projects. Uh, we were seven figures, and they were big projects, but now I don't think you need to do anything near that. Um, so what we can do is we can get, about 3 to 5 times more done with one person. And then if you want to go even further, you can even have sub agents and you can get, like, if you just want to blow through tokens and get it done quicker, then it's token spend instead of people spend. So the cost has gone way down. And then here's why projects fails. I've been on a lot of projects. A lot have been successful, a lot have failed. The ones that are successful, it's all about communication and visibility. If you know anything about Scrum, you'll have a daily stand-up. And everyone's like, I hate meetings. Well, yeah, I do too. But the reason why they have it is because some guy is in his office coding away and he's spending 3 days on something that should take, half a day. So that's why Scrum exists, so that we can have some visibility into really what's happening and know when someone's taking too long and then swarm on that and fix it. So now we're taking a 3 month project and we're doing it in 3 hours. All right. So we're going to work on that tracker. So I've got where did that go? All right. I've got some reference stuff here. So I'm going to start sharing. I'm going to share Visual Studio Code. And the reason is so that you can see that we're changing files um, right while we are using our prompt. All right, so here we are in Visual Studio Code. Let me resize this for us. I'm going to put this over here. Now you could just do it in the terminal as well. Like here's a terminal. And then also I've been using this one, dangerously skip permissions. This is really handy for dev tasks because we're not asking it to do anything other than create and modify files within this directory. So you can do it here, and that has the exact same effect as if you do it in the toolbar here. So what we're going to do is we are going to work on this app that Andrew had with our tracker, our nutrition, weight, and exercise tracker. Um, my son was actually looking into something similar because he wanted to estimate his nutrition, the food he's eating, and he didn't want to manually add it. So I sent him a screenshot of a little demo I was working on earlier this morning. Just was testing a couple little pieces out. So we're going to build this all live. Here we've got our env local that has an API key in it, and then our git ignore. So to get down to the weeds, if you don't care about this, don't worry, but Git is a way we're going to use this for snapshots. So if we want to go back in time, we can go to previous snapshot. Just look at it that way. It's a lot more detailed than that, but for this purpose, we'll just do it like that. So I've got some stuff I'm going to paste in, and it's going to have just some basic things. Uh, For instance, a couple like a demo account, right? No authentication, API key, um, stuff like that. So then I'm going to talk to it and I'm going to tell all the things we need to do. And if you're on Windows, Windows key H will transcribe for you. All right, I'm going to build an app and assume I'm non-technical. Ask any questions you need. But we want to build an app for tracking nutrition, tracking exercise, tracking weight and body fat content. And this is going to be used for trainers and their customers so that we can help the trainers can help the customers better. Um, okay, one thing I'm going to do first, I'm going to run init. And what that does is it creates a couple files for us. It should create like a Claude code and a README. Let's see. Oh, I deleted them. Hang on a second. Let's work in a different folder. I was doing a dry run and something always goes wrong when you do a live demo. So let me create a new directory. Hang on just a second.
So for the not so intellectually gifted, you're creating a sandbox to work in, and then you're creating a markdown file to talk about design and what you're trying to
Yeah.
accomplish.
Yeah, so here's where I was and I I had forgot that it did some commits for me, so I didn't want to really roll
Okay.
back. I mean, I guess I could delete the Git folder, but sometimes it gets locked, so I'm just gonna create a new folder here. I'm just gonna select that, and then I'm gonna copy my um, Add a couple files over. I'm going to do that over here. All right, yeah. So I'm just going to copy this environment from the old one to the new one, and it's going to show up over here. All right. So now we're back on track. So let's get rid of this. Let's do this. Okay. So we're back on track. We're going to do init. And since we don't have anything, we should be good. All right, so it created a Claude Markdown file. Now, if you were a developer, you would probably want to have, your rules in the Claude Markdown file. Uh, but since you guys don't care, and I really care less now than I used to, um, so we'll just go without it, right? We don't really care on that.
So as a designer, if I know the hexadecimal numbers and what I'm trying to do as a designer, do I put my design file in at this point? Color palette
Well,
and
yeah, you
usability?
could. What is your design palette? Is it just like a text file?
Yeah, well, I've been creating in Claude before I go into a project. I pick the 5 colors I'm going to use, and it's marked down as hexadecimal. I do ADA compliant and contrast. There's a WCHG 2.2. That's an accessibility thing for contrast. And so I picked the whatever field it's in. This is healthcare, so colors like green and blue are great. Kind of bright colors for energy, oranges, things like that. So, I mean, I'm coming from a completely different way, but what this does do when I've been working with Brandon on projects is it sets up a look and feel and expectation ahead of time of things I know from my design perspective. And then when you write code on it, it looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could paste that in. I would so a little bit of background. Claude will have what the project is. So instance, if you had so I started using Claude on an existing code base. So I just ran the init skill and it crawled the code base and then it had all the directory structure here. It had all sorts of different how to run it and things like that. And then it also has like it'll create a README file and then, um, yeah, I'll have to talk to it about PRD. And then if you create a PRD file, that's like a product resource document or requirements document. I don't even remember. Um, it doesn't matter, but that's what we're going to build. So then you can break things out into phases and then you can have your tasks and then you can prioritize things there. So I would put it in one of those two files.
Okay,
Claude is read every time you do a prompt. So every time you're in
gotcha.
the console or in the tool and you're talking to it, it will read this Claude Markdown file. And so that it'll do any style, coding style or visual style. Um, and
Okay.
so that's probably the place you'd want to do that.
So the init file is sort of your style guide for how you've worked in the past, so it has prior knowledge as context for how you work, right?
Well, init is a command and it just
Okay,
initializes Claude within this directory.
gotcha.
So Claude is, well, here it provides guidance to Claude when working on the repo, on the code base. Um, and then the PRD is going to be our requirement. So let me paste in what we'd had. Um, there we go. All right, so let me finish this prompt and then we'll kick it off and then we'll take a look at what it's doing and we can talk through any questions. Okay, I also want you to create a PRD file so that we can track where we are in the project. I want you to break it into about 3 or 4 phases. Um, we want a clean design. We want the UI to be simple and modern. We want to have a light mode and dark mode and automatically select the system, whether it's dark or light. Ask me any questions you need. We're going to use a SQLite database to keep things very simple. And down the road, we're going to use Supabase or Postgres. And we want some instructions in here somewhere on how to deploy to Vercel. So I just added a bunch of gobbledygook. We didn't tell it to do anything yet other than document what it thinks it should do. All right, so then ask us questions. And then this is where you can really give it, some better detail if you want something else. Um, yeah, we just want that. Single client deep dive, so we just want client deep dive. All right, so we answered some questions. You can watch a replay if you want to read a little bit more in detail about that. Um, but basically, we asked it to ask questions, so then it asked some questions. All right, so we can have detailed or just rough. So we'll do both. Why not? Um, Photo, barcode, and manual. Just do photo and barcode. Recent food list. Well, I would do recent food list as well for a real app, but just for this demo, this will be good. And we'll do no goals. And the thing is, you can always add stuff later. And by the way, when I was doing a little dry run, I just did a couple different aspects of it. It asks completely different questions. So with AI, you don't really know what you're going to get. So I'm just trying to pick what the least amount of stuff is. All right, so it's writing our product requirements doc. And let me.
Now, I was curious. I know I've heard on other videos that like switching to plan mode. Did you do anything like that, or is this kind of like before that?
I didn't. But yeah, you can. I think it's smart enough now where, well, in plan mode wouldn't, I don't really know how that works with you telling it to plan versus it just planning. But here are a couple documents that I'm going to send. So here's like a prompt template. I didn't really follow this, but this is a great one because it has different sections for it. Just make sure I can see what it's doing here. All right, so now we have a PRD. Let's switch to the preview so it's a little better. All right, so it has the goals, non-goals, the client and the trainer are the two roles, and we're just going to hard code some authentication, food logging. So we're going to start with food logging and then exercise logging. So it's going to start cranking away. And between each phase, let's take a snapshot, check it in.
Could you have it connect to your devices you have? I noticed Perplexity has connectors to physical devices like your Apple Watch and running apps and Nike, etc.
Uh, yeah. So we're doing a web app. If you're doing a mobile app, you could do that. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, or if it could a web app do that? Could it actually import your Nike running app or something like that? The data so you could say how far you ran or what you're increasing, your heart rates, etc.
Um, Hang on a second. Yep. Let's do this. You could, but you'd have to export it first. You'd have to
Ah,
have that data somewhere. Because a web app doesn't know about your devices. Think of it as it's on a web server somewhere.
right.
So for you to connect, it would have to connect to a like your Nike stuff would have to connect to the same web server or a third party server. So if
Gotcha.
that has an API, then you could connect to their API. So I don't know about their API, but they probably have one. Let's ask in a new session. What is it? Nike Connect or something?
Yeah, there's Nike and there's Apple Health. And both of them are in perplexity as actually connectors you can do. In fact, you can get your actual all your doctor's information. They're now HIPAA compliant, so they have the portals if you're importing your health data. And
Mm.
we just finished an app this last year. That's what I did with my graphic design class, is we made an app for importing all of your data from all of your devices into
Uh-huh.
one place, and then we aggregate and output a meal plan for you, food plan, exercise plan. So in the areas of health, uh, nutrition, exercise, and then output. So we've successfully completed it, and we've got a Super Bowl commercial in the whole. We did it for advertising and graphic design class and branding, and then also for the UX UI class, which I'm teaching. So we have the Figma images and everything all ready to go.
All right, cool. Yeah, so it looks like they do have APIs. Apple doesn't have a cloud API. It's only from the device.
Okay,
So you would have to write an iOS app that connects to Apple Health
gotcha.
with those
Okay,
permissions, and then that can connect to your server or something like that is what I'm reading. All right, so if we see here, it's generating some files. Green means, it's updated or new, and it's just churning away. All right. And then, still telling it the role is always handy. It likes that. Then here's talks about Claude Markdown and guardrails and AI behaviors. Users and permissions and roles. So one caveat here, people always are worried about security. If you don't have the users and roles set up right, you could have cross-contamination with the data, right? Rick doesn't want me seeing his data. Um, he doesn't want me to see his 4 minute mile. So I don't blame you.
I could do 8 minutes. I could do that.
I can't.
I still
Uh,
got it.
I've got a bad knee. I had a hip
Oh
replacement. I
yeah.
don't think I'm going to do any running anymore. But I played soccer all through college.
So what's the
Yeah,
end mission of what you're trying to accomplish? Just to have an exercise plan, or is it built on some sort of foundation of who you are and like you have a knee issue, so your exercise would be different?
this is just general.
Okay,
Yeah, this isn't really even an exercise plan, but it's logging your exercise. So
gotcha.
for this morning, I went on a walk for 45 minutes. But
Right.
yesterday, I did weight training and then I did a shorter walk. So things like that. Um,
So my fitness pal sort of thing that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
in a simple
kind of on
terms.
steroids. Yeah.
Yeah, this my personal trainers talked about it. He was wanting something that he could give to his clients,
Yeah.
and easy because last year I was taking pictures of all my food and logging, and just manually using chat to track my daily intake, and then I copy and paste it into a text message that I would send him. And
Right.
that's how he kept control. And so he's like, and then he writes down in a notebook, hey, you did 5 sets of rack pulls, you did 5 rows, you did this. And then he could see the customer could, his clients could both see what they did, how they're progressing and stuff like that. My wife's been seeing him for 20 years. And if he's out for the weekend with his son at a baseball tournament, he'll write down a workout plan for her to go to the gym on her own to do. So if he could have an app that they could communicate back and forth and track stuff is kind of the goal. if that helps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
very
one
cool.
called Everfit. My son is actually a personal trainer, so
Okay.
there's one called Everfit that does exactly that. All in one
There's another
platform
one.
for sports nutrition.
Yeah, there's another one my son was looking at. It costs though, it's like $30 a year, but it does
Yeah.
this with the photo with a camera. Um,
Okay.
so I sent him a screenshot of what I was working with. I was playing around with this. I just did the little piece of the image um, and sent that to him because it does exactly what he was hoping. All
Yeah, the
right,
reason why
so
we thought of the connectors is because think of how much data is already in your hands. If you're wearing a watch that's got your heart rate, EKG, and all this kind of
yep.
stuff, and if you just port it right in, and then you got your food intake, that MyFitnessPal, you take a picture of the food and at the restaurant, it already puts that in, and then you
Hmm.
just report everything. So,
Yeah, he was kind of
but
looking
there's
for
nothing
something
that
that somebody wouldn't have
automates
to.
it.
Yeah, he was looking for something that, people wouldn't have to pay for. It would let
Yeah,
him bump up
yeah.
his rates a little bit as here's a, a benefit of, choosing me as your trainer. Um, Kind of a little add-on.
Well, and also he could have access to their data.
Exactly. Right.
That way he can help them better. So I think that's the really the benefit right there, I see.
And then, down the road, another feature that I threw at him is, people could reserve their workout times. And so he would have a place and he could see his calendar.
Yeah,
That's an
I did
add-on
that.
feature down the road.
LA Fitness has that already. So I went in and got personal trainer, and they had a food plan, and then they had it was a reporting app. It's kind of a journal, I guess you'd say it. And then it had the foods that you're supposed to eat that you're. So they have a bunch of plans already set. So they give you that. I mean, it was expensive, obviously. I had to
Right.
enroll and pay for it. My insurance paid for half of it, though, which is kind of nice. But none of them had input from devices you're already wearing,
Yeah.
like the Aura Ring or your sleep schedule and that kind of stuff. So
So
that's
once we build this, I think you may have talked about it before I came on, but what are the hosting options other than Lovable?
The one it always recommends is Vercel because there's a free tier for demos and stuff like that. That's
Vercel?
what yeah.
Hmm.
Let me pull it up here.
Because I built one on Lovable once and then now I'm paying for Lovable, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
in perpetuity, if, or whatever.
And
I will
one of
say
my
with
apps is GitHub. It's actually serving from the GitHub, and I just have my Wix page. It wasn't able to design inside of Wix, but I made 5 apps that sit outside of Wix that point to the Wix page. So it's
Hmm.
looks to the
Mm.
user as like a landing pad, and then they go right to the app. So all the apps I put in there just now are served on different places. One's at Manus, one's at Lovable, and the third one is actually in GitHub.
Yeah, I will say with Lovable, if you're not actively building with them, there's no harm in going down to either the light or the free plan, because they'll still keep your stuff served, which is really nice.
Oh, okay.
Versus, you're not using any credits. You're only using storage credits and AI credits depending on what you built.
Mm.
And
That's
then
my
when
other
I
problem.
went,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead,
and then
Lynn.
when I went to do a more complex app, then they're like, oh, you would need storage then. So then I stopped with them. So I was
Mm.
like, I just want to understand like natively what my other options are. Uh,
Yeah,
It,
I went through and built all of this thinking I was building 18 different apps inside of my Wix application because it had a connector for it. And then I get inside there and none of the content's there. It's all served up off of different locations. And I asked it, you could have told me. I thought you were building inside. So when I got to the page in Wix, it was the same old page I already had. And then it says, well, I can set Comet to go in there and manually do it for you, but it's like it has no access to the inside because, of course, Wix wants to keep their inside, and their AI. So then I suggested, well, where's a place for me to keep it? And it said you can put everything on GitHub, and it's free, and everything the React code or some other thing that it was doing, it can't do with inside of Wix, and it can do externally. So I'm like, I'm looking for a place where I could put it all together. And I ask about even creating a what do you call it? Some kind of server. Should I get my own server and just put it all on there, and so it looks like to the end user one point of entry and 18 different apps inside? And that was my goal, but I don't know. I still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm
But
one
I
of
think
those geeks that I've got 3 virtual servers that I host, and I found a place.
you do it yourself.
Yeah, it's like racknerds.com. You can get a 4 CPU, 8 gig server for like $45 a year, and it's yours. You do what you want on it.
So
It's just
it's
a
a
virtual.
virtual server, huh?
Yep, yeah. And
Okay.
then I also have a 3 node cluster at home, and I have business internet at home, and I host a bunch of stuff off just my personal servers.
So for building this kind of stuff, that's probably a good way to go, huh?
Yep. For me, it's now I don't have local AI. I unfortunately can't afford anything that can process. I've got an old MacBook Pro, an M2 one that kind of runs
Yeah.
some local AI, and I'm doing
Yeah.
that with N8N and Open Web UI and stuff like that, just to test and play with stuff. But
So my goal is to get my Claude, my Perplexity computer, both of those as computers, my Manus as well, on device, and then have them working and balancing the load. So I'm paying $20 a month for each. And then I'm
yeah,
rigging up a dashboard so that it sees what credits I have for in Midjourney, whatever. So it'll go over and make songs in Suno, make images in Midjourney, put it into a Crea, and I've got a node system I'm doing right now that's making feature-length movies and upresing them. So right now, Crea
wow,
has a built-in nodal-based system, like it's N8N but for visuals and for movies and stuff. And then there's some new program called Mystery or something like this. But anyway, their full feature-length movie production studio that's on
wow,
device, and it's using Flux and some of the other on-device models. So I
that's
think
crazy.
everything's going to move to where there's open source, and if you got a beefy enough computer, you just set up all your agents to run each other. Claude seems to be the one that's the orchestration, the conductor of the symphony, and then you just get the little robots to go out there, lobsters to claw their way to get shit done.
With writing code though, Claude Code is way better than all the others that I've
Yeah,
tried.
yeah,
So it's not just an orchestration layer; it is also better.
the
A
code
better,
part.
yeah.
It just
So
has sucked up to this point with the image problem. So I has that task out to other things. That's why I'm using
yeah,
Perplexity because it has all the above in it.
yeah. So here, let's see if we can scan a barcode. All
Oh,
right.
cool.
Allow. Oh, let me stop my video. All right, so we'll put a little barcode up there, and it's
Sweet.
going to look it up. And this is like Kirkland energy drink or something like that. There we go.
Nice. It
So
works.
3 calories. Oh, this says 10 calories, so it's a little wrong. But other than that, but it has the UPC. Um, you can
Huh.
save it. And then
So
what
where
we can do a photo. Let's do like an apple. Okay, 95 calories. Add that. Let's do another one. I have some tacos in here
so
from
this is
a
my fitness pal.
It is. We created it in
A couple
36.
seconds.
So here we are. So these are my carnitas tacos with jalapenos
Nice.
and avocados. So that's not bad. Now let's see
Yeah.
what else. Let's take something. I found some images that were kind of like this bowl. I don't really know what's in there. Let's see what it figures out.
Well, that's got a lot.
Yeah. Let's do one more. Let's do here, I think I have some ice cream. Here's ice cream. It's my favorite thing to make. All right. It's a good recovery because it's got 4 grams of protein. No, but that's not bad, right?
That's very good.
So we didn't write anything. If there was a like a library, or not a library, but an approach or something with Claude Code to be able to use to get the nutrition information from these photos. And then there was one API that's free and open source that's for the barcodes. I meant to grab a couple before the call, a couple more for like protein powder and stuff like that. So
So,
here
so
is, yeah,
that's what I was curious about. What the reason why I was here is exactly that. So, where is that open source database that talks about what ice cream has in it and grilled chicken, rice bowl, etc.?
that's Claude Code.
Oh, it's doing it itself. So it's finding whatever is out there that matches the picture to the data that you got.
Yeah. And then the
Okay.
instruction I pasted in was just a simple API endpoint that here, World of Foods. So here is this, and then if we go back to the app, oh, it doesn't let me edit it. But I know
So
I
a friend of mine's using the U.S. Department of the Epstein files and is creating a portal so anybody can query every single thing, including photographs, within the database. So he
hmm,
pulls in that database and it's publicly held. So there's, I don't know, 27 million pieces of information in there. And then you can search through it. So you just basically point it at whatever your database is your source point, at food database of all foods. Maybe all restaurants have to have a database, right? So if you go to McDonald's, it knows what the calorie count and everything is of all that food.
they expose it.
Okay. And so
So
Claude's finding all those sources in the background?
hang on a second. Uh, no, I don't know how it's doing it. I I wonder if it's just analyzing the photo and saying, "Oh, that looks like a hamburger bun. Oh, that looks like a beef patty. That looks like a slice of cheese."
I guess the question is, where is it getting the calorie count for a slice of cheese?
Because it
Yeah.
knows everything about everything with the large language model.
Would it be more accurate? Because you kind of suggested that might not be accurate. Would it be more accurate if there was an actual federal FDA or something like that? Like the FDA had database that it pulled from that, like
Yes,
live
but if
data.
like if you know exactly, like you go to Chick-fil-A, you get 12 nuggets or whatever, whether they're grilled or
Right,
got the breading on it. Those are two different things. And if you know
right.
exactly what you got, then yeah, you know exactly your calories. But with this,
So
you're estimating anyway, so it's not going to
it
be 100%.
so the Epstein files in particular is more of if you need to know absolute exactly what's what, you would go to that database and link it there. You'd have to manually do that, I guess.
Yeah,
Because
I
I'm
don't
also
really know
doing,
how it's structured, but you could, if it's publicly available, you could
yeah.
probably ask, like here, let's ask Claude Code.
So I'm doing
Um,
all jobs in the United States. So I have 347 jobs pulled in. This is Andre Karpathy pulled this and he created a GitHub repo. So I can say what is the vulnerability to AI in these 345 jobs. I'm looking for all jobs
yeah,
database.
you can just pull down the Git repo and then open Claude Code in that folder and ask it.
Oh well, I've already got it from Andrew Karpathy. So Andre Karpathy. So I want to get more than 345 from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I want to have every job in America. So I'm wondering where those databases are. That's what I'm
Oh,
trying
yeah,
to
I
figure out
would
how the database thing can be more specific and more certain that you've got the real information.
I would just ask AI.
Yep, there you go.
It'll
Good
figure out
idea.
because when that link I pasted in the chat, the open food facts, I didn't know
Right,
about that. I didn't find it. It found it for me.
right.
So there's that. Um, All right, let's here I'll use this one here. All right, so we'll use the true command line. So since I'm on Windows, Claude runs best under Linux. So this is using the Windows subsystem for Linux. So we're just going to say continue with phase two. Did it work? Continue. Let's see. I'll just type it. So it's going. So here's the reason why I'm doing that too is because this is a different. It doesn't have any context. So it still knows what's in phase two because it's going through the directory. Um, and I'm going to ask it to create a README file. So we just chained another command there. It's running. What other AI questions do we have?
What level
So,
of code do you need to be on to like Claude code do you need to be on to get this level of output?
Uh, so there's a couple different factors. There's the model. I'm just on the default one. I forget which one it is. Everyone's all up to date on that. I'm like, I don't know. I just if it stops working the way I want, then I mess around with it. But otherwise, like
It
Opus,
says
oh,
down
here
there
we
in
go.
your,
Opus
yeah,
4.7.
four
Yeah,
seven, yeah.
yeah.
No, but I
I
mean
just
in terms of volume of credits or are you on
yeah.
Max
So
or Pro or Light?
yeah, but yep, that's what I was getting to. So the model matters because some are leaner and use less tokens. And then the subscription, I noticed that the $20 subscription, I ran out of tokens pretty quickly. And now I'm on is it the max that's $100 a month? And I don't run out of tokens very often, but sometimes I'll run out of tokens in a session. So a session is 5 hours long because I'll do
Oh,
like there's this babysitter. I might not have it installed in this, but there's a babysitter skill, and you can ask it to use that. And then what that will do is like I can say, let's do all four phases, use the babysitter skill, and just crank through everything. And then the babysitter just makes sure it keeps running. There are
can you
other ones.
have it? Can you have it use a lower model and then go back and check it with 4.7 at the end?
Sure. I haven't found the need for that
Yeah.
because it'd just be a token thing, really. Um, but there are a lot of guys that like if I was doing a big project, I would probably get the $200 a month one and turn on um, extra token usage and just pay for it with tokens and build a client or something or include that in my estimate. And
So
I
I
would never,
understand Claude's really ticked off if you use it on any of those autonomous machines and stuff like that, right? So
what do you mean?
if you're running it on device or in some sort of Claude bot situation,
Oh, it doesn't like that?
yeah, they don't want you using it that way, so they start to throttle you and charge you extra.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
Eh,
think that's you're running out of tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did see that and it did slow down uh, a lot. So yeah. Right. Cool. What time is it? All right. We got 14 minutes. So has this been useful so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very generous of your time. Thank you. What do you do when you're not vibe coding? Do you teach or do you work some?
I help clients get their business goals met with tech initiatives. So I love the strategy part of things, and then helping them build a tech roadmap. What do you want to accomplish, and how do we get there? What's the right tool for the job? AI is always involved, but it may not be AI in the app. It may be AI with, writing AI, writing the app with AI. It just kind of depends. The example I like is like a loan calculation. We know how much a payment's going to be for a mortgage. We don't need AI to figure that out. So we can just do the math there, but we can use AI to build the function that will calculate that. Uh, but like you were talking about the Epstein documents, like if there are a bunch of PDFs, AI is great at taking those and transcribing those. So things like that, and where we can take uh, the mundane tasks that a human would do and take it off their plate.
Yeah. Well, and give it a visual interface so you could actually go find what you want to find. Make me a murder board that tracks who did what, when, where, and why, and who's connected to who, and how many hours were spent between different people. So once you have the
Well,
database, so would you use Obsidian or something like that to kind of vectorize the data?
it depends on the project. If it was for a business, I would probably do a vector database, depending on, and seed it with the data that they have, and then have an LLM that hooks into that. But if I was just, for instance, I have my CRM connected to my AI agent, and I just used a MCP server. I don't know if it was an API or not. I really don't even care because it works. So that's kind of the thing too, is what is the definition of done for you? What does it look like?
Right.
What do we need to do? All right, let's sign out so we can sign back in. All right, today. All right, let's see what it did. Exercise. Oh, here we go. Exercise. I don't know. All right, let's log our weight. Let's change the um oh, we can't change the date. So that would be nice if we could change the date. What
Because you'd want
about,
this as a calendar, right?
yeah, uh I don't even know. Uh so then you can, because I wanted to see the difference, the delta in the graph. Um
Right.
but it doesn't really do that. So
When you're
add a
making
date
something like
or
this, do you have
weight
it set up a
percent.
fake database just so you could test to see what it looks like if you have a month's worth of data?
Yeah, so I just told to add a date for the weight and exercise. And let's add some dummy data so that we get some good graphs on the trend.
Gotcha. Cool. Wow.
So you literally just talk to it. You just act like it's a mid-level developer. And then if you want a real senior guy, you just say, acting as my software architect and make the best decisions for my application.
And being a graphic designer, I can tell you guys one thing that you should do is act as my amazing graphic designer and make sure it's contrast to ADA compliance, that the color palette is appropriate for the 5 colors that we use in this type of an application. So, in foods kind of stuff or exercise, there'd be a color palette would recommend. So, yeah, like you're asking it to do things that definitely ADA compliant and color palette appropriate to the food and exercise industry. Usually you pick 5 colors that have contrast ratios so the readability becomes good. And then have a dark and a light mode, which is
Yeah, it
nice. I
does.
see you
It
have
does
that
have
already. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you need some colors because it's either snow blinding they call it, or it's completely blacked out. So readability goes way down when you're pure black or pure white. So you want a color palette that has contrast ratios so blind people can still see it.
that. Interesting. Yeah,
That little line just right there is going to take care of designing it the way, Now you can actually sell it.
Yeah, you could even say make it look like Apple built it, and it will,
There
or
you
make it look
go.
like whatever,
That's
right?
it. That's actually great idea. Yes.
Yeah,
Because
it'll
Apple Health, in fact, say Apple Health color and style palette. Even the interface elements, the way Apple does their stuff is, the rounded corners and the drop down menus, etc.
although the Mac OS seems like it's stuck in 2003. That's
It is because
everyone's
Johnny Ive left. He's the guy that did the whole thing, Sir Johnny Ive. He went to
uh,
ChatGPT, so now he's going to be doing it there and making a device for them. In fact, this is the device he's making right now for OpenAI. It's a
mm.
physical device that's going to replace your phone. It's supposed to be like an earring clip kind of thing that does everything.
Well, I could see AI UI not really being that much of a thing anymore, too.
Right. You just
Like
talk.
a lot of things too, they're like, oh, my agent talks to someone else's agent, and I want to buy like the Amazon agent, and I want to buy something. I want to buy my a
Yeah, I
blender,
mean, that's
right?
what everybody's been talking about is once you have full context of who you are, and what you do, you just talk to it like you just got a guy in your pocket. It's I dream of genie time right now. It's abracadabra.
I have Telegram set up for my AI agent that I run here on my computer, and so I can just if I'm on a walk, I'm like, oh, I got to remember to do this, and I can just talk to it, and then it's just pretty wild. So you
This is
notice it did
amazing.
for the
Matt, thank you so much for your generosity. I'm going to have to go, but
All
anytime you
right.
guys want to hang out again, I'm here.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
I'll get you some follow-up emails, and
Yeah,
if some
that'd be
time with
awesome.
there's a link in there. Love to help you guys out if you have any other further questions.
Yeah, if you want a job working on some big
Likewise.
projects, we've got a bunch of them going. So love to have
Yeah.
you on our show as well.
All right. Yeah. Send me some info on that. I'd love to check that out.
Take
Yeah, Matt, I'll
care,
connect with
everybody.
you on LinkedIn. I'll send you links to the AI salon as well. I think you'd be
Love
a
it.
Awesome.
good voice in there.
Guys.
Thanks.
Great meeting.
Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Take care.
Just me now.
All right. Just a
No,
cool
this was
kid.
cool. This helped.
Good. Yeah, it's once you get it set up, it's easy.
Yeah.
And it's scary easy. You do have some things like the deployment and like if a non-technical person starts, it's always kind of a mess. Well, and if they start on a vibe coding tool and then they're like, make this go into production, you're like, yeah, this is going to take me a month because I've got to undo all this stuff. And
Okay.
so, yeah,
No, I appreciate it. This was good. Gives
yeah.
me an idea of what I can do for him and uh just to show him what he could, think about doing
Well,
and
even
then
this blows my mind.
yeah.
I just, oh, here, this is a good dinner. Some
Yeah,
smash
and see
burger.
that and that's what I was doing and chat was really good at figuring that out.
A little high on the fat, but it is tasty.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. Exercise. Yeah, so now we can set a date.
Nice.
So I didn't see any data.
Needs you to run.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, cool. What else? Anything else?
No, that gives me a great idea on how to start. Um, I'll watch the replay unless you want to paste your prompts that you used.
Well, I didn't really copy them. But
Okay.
yeah, this was just off the cuff.
Yep.
I did one previous where it was four different prompts. But this one was just more organic.
Yeah.
So
No, it's great. Gives me a great idea of how to get started. I appreciate it,
yeah,
Matt.
you can share if you have a Git repo, I can put it in there or something, or I can just send you a zip file or
Yeah, if you want to send me a zip, I'd appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I host my own. I've got Forjo and I host my own stuff and for my internal things.
I'll get you on Slack.
Yes.
There you are. Yeah, I'll send you what we built.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, see you around.